To the second training offering for Building Safety Month 2013. This program is being presented by the Liberty Chapter of Philadelphia. It is accredited for Continuing Education Credits, CEU. Today we have the National Fire Escape Association with Cisco that's going to be presenting. So he has a very comprehensive program. We've been trying to get him in to do this for quite a while. So we're proud that we're able to get Cisco in with your group to present to the city of Philadelphia. Okay, so with that, please welcome Cisco.
Okay. All right. So I know we got a mix of guys in the building department and fire department. And if you have any maintenance or any other housing guys here, we're going to cover all the codes. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what codes are out there and how we interpreted them. We teach this very same class. We've taught it from Seattle to San Diego, Chicago to Texas, from Maine to Florida. And basically all we're going to do is just talk about what we see, what we've read, tell you about some of the power you have that you didn't even know you had, describe what load test means, describe what other evidence of strength really means, show you pieces. This is Rusty. Rusty came off as is from an elementary school, okay, and we replaced it with another fire escape, but it was in use for kids kindergarten to 8th grade to use every day to go to recess, from the second story to the recess, and this is actually how we took it out of there, and then we replaced it. Now this used to be 4 feet wide. We shrunk it down, and we have a nice, so it's the dog and pony show, but if you can't get out there and see horror, we bring horror onto you. And what happens is, and what we're going to be discussing today is what's in this book. And this picture actually happened in Boston, and it won a Pulitzer Prize for the photograph. So if you want, one of the things you can do with this book is post it up on your wall and just use the poster of it, so in case somebody tells you they're not going to fix their fire escape, they're not going to do anything. I'm going to tell you who fire escapes hurt. Fire escapes basically hurt the tenants. The woman died on this photograph. The niece who was visiting landed on her, survived but was critically injured. The fireman with one hand saved himself on the ladder from the 4th floor. It was at that time that the Boston code, which used to be must maintain fire escapes at all times, changed to no, we have to look at it every 5 years and prove to us that it's good. Then once that was done, that became a sleeping law again, and everybody sort of ignored it. So we're going to talk about fire escapes. So I've inspected fire escapes everywhere, including Philadelphia, so we can talk about what I've seen out there and what this course means and what we've done and has changed. So with you also in your book, you have this. It's just a little insert, and what you have is 2 models in there. You have a model city, which is Lowell, Massachusetts, and we have a model state, which is Portland, Oregon. So a lot of times I'm brought in only when somebody is either fallen to their death or close to their death. So Oregon we've been working with for 5 years. Seattle we've been working with for 5 years. Portland, Oregon caught a code change. So they addressed every issue, including how to inspect fire escapes, how to repair fire escapes, how to load test fire escapes. So with that, we gave you some models. So if you were to go on here, and I'll now talk about the inside of this book, and then we're going to start the class, okay? What we're going to be talking about today is that everybody here has departmental procedures and guidelines. So we'll send you this. And basically it says, if you're an inspector, a structural engineer or a fire escape inspector or an architect, and you're going to inspect the building in your area, if you read these general guidelines, these are the general practices that you should hold. If you're going to repair a fire escape in your area, the vendor should be following the guidelines with a permit of the inspector who basically prepared. So this is the watchful eye is by the structural engineer or the architect. Even if you're going to paint it, all fire escapes now older than 78 are presumed to have lead. So there's an EPA requirement on how you scrape it and paint it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to cover today, besides lead safe with the EPA, we're going to bring OSHA. You guys know that OSHA has a standard that I think you'll find shocking today. Another hand grenade to keep in your pocket in case you're getting somebody not being cooperative with you on fire escapes. Okay? This is a standard, industry standard fire escape confidence test. If you go to seattle.org and you download, you go to their fire prevention, you've got all kinds of confidence tests for sprinklers, for alarms. We've designed this for them. So if you go to seattle.org, you can download an industry standard confidence test that a structural engineer must go through. So no longer you'll take his opinion to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief. You'll take, hey, did you read the checklist and did you check yes and no? So a lot of states have adopted our checklist. This, with today's technology, you don't have to go look at a fire escape. Whoever's going to inspect it for you has got to give you plenty of photographs. And he doesn't have to even print them out. He can email them to you to show you how bad the situation is. So correct reporting is important. And Oregon addressed that. Here's an industry standard documentation that most states have. It's called a construction control document. There's a preliminary and a final affidavit. So your state has one of these, so that anything that's a commercial and over 35,000 cubic, they need construction control. Well, here's one that all we did was just put the Firescape code on the top of it and modify the rest of the document in no way. And so this document says we need to know who is the architect or engineer or the professional, having the control of the project. So I want to know what permit number is being used. So this is the guy watching the Firescape being done, not you. And then there's a final affidavit, and the final affidavit is basically saying that I'm going to give you the documents you need, which is, what we're going to show here is this Firescape can be spot repaired, and it's an automatic load test if they spot repaired. They leave behind one rivet, one square bolt. You have confidence in it? So how do you get the confidence? What's the law already give you? It's already in the word, in the document, in all your codes. Load test. The physical, and I have photographs and I have video here to show you of sandbags or water 100 pounds per square foot. So if you have a 4x4 platform, that's going to be 16 square feet times 100. That's 1,600 pounds of sand that we're going to put on there for half an hour to an hour, whatever the engineer or the architect designs as a criteria. Once it passes its load test, are you good for 5 years? You feel sure it's not going to fall? Otherwise, well, the load test is the only thing you have. Is there another alternative besides load test? Because we're not pushing load test here today. We're going to tell you that that's what you have. If somebody spot repairs something, what do you throw at them? Load test. If they refurbish this in its entirety, all new bolting, new connections, and all the worn metal has been replaced or reinforced, and all the connections into the building have been verified and duplicated. That's what it says. The authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. So if somebody wants to give you other evidence of strength, do you have to load test it? But if they take a halfway approach to it, and they spot repair it and spit paint on it, what are you going to order on them? But you need the power. You need to say where in the code it says such things. So we're going to go through all the code. So repair criteria. Very difficult to repair a fire escape. You know what it is? Take the rust out and rebolt it. So that's the extent of repair criteria, because that's all you do. Don't weld it in there like this thing. They welded all the rust in there. They basically threw silicone wherever they could. Got it? And by the way, can you, now with EPA saying you can't burn lead, can you weld on a fire escape that has lead? So can anybody go back and start welding these fire escapes anymore in your future? Why? What law are they breaking? EPA, a fine is how many thousands? 35,000 per event. We're going to talk about how fire escapes have been built and they haven't changed in 100 years. We're going to show you all kinds of fire escapes today. And from East Coast to West Coast, they're all the same. But they all were built between 1900 and 1930. Then all of a sudden someone in 1930 said, hey, no more fire escapes. Every building from now on, 2 staircases inside, none of these fire escapes on the outside. And they said at that time, well, that's great, but what about all these existing buildings that have fire escapes on them? And they all said, well, give it another 30 to 50 years, every one of those buildings is going to come down and fire escapes are going to go away with them. And then somebody right after that invented bubble gum, duct tape, paper clips, slumlords. And so now you're faced with a situation where these fire escapes that were 25 to 50 years old, waiting for their rebolting, did anybody rebolt their rivets and rebolt their square head bolts? So now these fire escapes are 75 to 100 years old. And who are they dropping? Are they dropping building inspectors? Are they dropping firemen? Tenants? Do they ever drop landlords? We want you to pass an ordinance in the city that says from now on all rent checks must be collected through the fire escape. All tenants should duct tape their rent check on the outside of the window and then notify their management company and the landlord that there's already 3 checks on my window that you haven't picked up already. So So since that ordinance is not going to get passed anytime soon, fire escapes must be complete and to grade. That means that all fire escapes can't just land on a roof and then you somehow find the ladder at the other corner as you jump over AC units. A fire escape must have a complete catwalk system, all the way to a ladder or to a staircase to the ground. Ladders that stop 7 to 8 feet off the ground, they must be complete to grade. So people say, oh, well, people are breaking in. Yeah, that's why you have drop ladders that come to the ground. That's why you have fold-out ladders that come to the ground. What people did was they took advantage of the law that says you can have the last run 8 feet and then complete the process to the ground. People just left them at 8 feet and did not complete. So every fire escape ladder that gets inspected that's 8 to 10 feet off the ground needs now to be complete to the ground. And if it's a dangerous area, they have to make it a drop ladder, and we'll show you examples of drop ladders, or fold-out ladders. They cannot be incomplete to the ground. You can't make grandma jump 7 to 10 feet to the ground. So there's drawings, there's cantilevers, and there's tags. Right now in the city of Portland, Oregon, every fire escape must have a tag. In the city of Seattle, every fire escape must have a tag. In some cities in New Jersey, we've taught the entire state of fire prevention. We've taught it to all their academies. Bergen, Sayreville. We taught the same 6-hour class, and a lot of them are putting tags. Now, who does this benefit, these tags? The fireman in the middle of the night that is wondering whether the fire escape is safe or not? If he sees a white, if he sees a red, it's closed. If he sees a yellow, it's under repair. But if he sees a white, he's going to go up and save whoever needs to be saved. As you do your yearly inspections or your 5-year inspections, then right on the tag, which is 7 to 10 feet off the ground, permanently attached to the fire escape. We'll show you examples of it. You can read when the next inspection date, any questions on when this thing needs to be inspected. So just like an elevator tag, they're starting to put tags on fire escapes. If you read that Oregon code that I give you as an insert, it states in there that they want a tag permanently mounted to all fire escapes so that there's no more question. So we're going to give you some suggestions. We're going to go through a few things. We're going to show you a few scary things. What I'd like to do is, if you guys don't mind, I'll send this one down this way. This we just took off last week from a building that was a residential. And this is to show you just what kind of rust is out there. And you put your fingers through, and so if you want to get an idea, if you don't want to confront fire escapes, we're going to bring it and show it to you just what corrosion looks like. If you guys don't mind, slowly, just as it moves around throughout the whole day, you can send this piece. This is corrosion. Excuse me?
What city did you find that?
This piece or the?
This piece.
Oh, every city. This was in Winthrop, Massachusetts. This was in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay, so let's take a look. Right here, right? Live load test, guys, right? By the show of the picture on the side and the type of pad, you know this is an old picture. But you know back in the 30s and 40s, see how many firemen are on there? If this fireman on there, each weighs about 300 pounds now because of the gear. 5 guys, right? But that's 5x5 platform, plus minus. 5 times 5 is 25, times 100 is 2,500. They're only putting 1,500 on here, yet the thing can hold 2,500. So are they worried? Were they worried back then when these things were built? Because they got 1,500 pounds of live load, and yet the thing will take 2,500. But today, ready? And I know we have a few firemen here, ready? And I'll say it to this side. Oh, there's a fireman too. Fireman. I'll say it to this side. And the old guys in the fire department, right, with the gray hair, tell the new guys, ready? In case of fire, don't use the fire. All right. So just in case you have a building. Don't plan on using your fire escape because even the fire department knows not to use them. And why? Because you just got forgotten. It's the bastard child of egress. I'll take my chances. I'll buy a parachute. Oh, my clicker's working. You get my other clicker? Sometimes you get the technical difficulties.
That's all yours, man. Take it home. I had to get past the clip.
The copper. The other one.
Yeah, one little word.
Mike, you want to pick this up? John Gary.